What is good, Tesla family? It's Ray J back with another video, and in this one, we're going to be breaking down what's going on with Tesla, SPY, Nvda, the QQQ, and a couple of other tickers, and break down what the news is saying about Tesla in the markets, what's happening with their economic calendar, what you should be watching for as time progresses. But before I break things down, all this information, before I get into any more details, let me just mention a couple of things. I am firstly not a financial planner, so take nothing I say as financial advice. And also, if you guys can, please check out the Weeble link, which is down below and in the description. If you sign up for Webull and deposit any amount of money into the account, you are guaranteed up to 6 free stocks. You deposit $500, you're guaranteed 20 free stocks plus 6 months of level 2 data. And putting in $25,000 or more guarantees you 70 free stocks plus 12 months of level 2 data. The offer ends in just about 24 hours from now, so check it out before they run out. Anyways, let's break down what's going on with the markets and Tesla. Looking at Tesla right now, we can see that this thing has a bullish wedge that's developing, and there is going to be likely an attempt for this thing to try to push a little higher, but there's no guarantee that the move is going to last when you look at how the market's looking and some new news that's coming out. So what's happening with the markets as a reminder? It's 10 o'clock a.m. Eastern Standard Time, 30 minutes after market open. We have the NAHB Housing Market Index coming out. This is expected to be between 32 and 36, which is very close to what we saw from before, within the same range. So watch for some volatility at 10 a.m. Then at 11:30 a.m., we have the 3-month and the 6-month bill auction reports coming out. So watch for volatility at these times. And that's pretty much it for all the data. As a reminder, guys, Monday and Tuesday are going to be kind of light on data, but the data becomes more intense starting Wednesday. And then Thursday and Friday is when things become even more intense with PCE and the GDP numbers coming out. So just to be prepared, guys, the numbers become more intense, more impactful towards the end of the week. And for now, we're just starting off kind of weak in terms of the effect that the data will have. Now, as far as the market goes for news, we're seeing stocks just continuing to tear to the upside as we're seeing the market continuing to push in the pre-market. And don't forget that the Dow Jones managed to reach all-time highs, whereas the S&P 500 and the Nasdaq are approaching. We're getting very close to those 52-week highs, if not like about to break them. But I would still be very careful looking at the current levels that the market is at. There's a big steel deal that came out. The Japan-based Nippon Steel has agreed to buy U.S. steel for $14.9 billion, including debt, which is some big news. This is at $55 per share, which is a 40% surge in U.S. Steel's close price. So there's a big jump that ended up coming. On top of that, there's some new developments when it comes to weight loss and diabetes drugs that have come out. We'll be watching to see what changes come right now when it comes to their awareness and also their access to expensive treatments. And we're going to be looking at how these competitors basically just like compete with one another. And finally, GM's recent venture outside of its core business has struggled, at least thus far. Cruise, which is what that is known as, has become the next one to fall to the wayside. The robotaxi unit has basically halted road operations. On top of that, with the accidents happening, they may have to actually lay off about 24% of their workforce, which is some negative news. However, GM is expressing some hope to help save the company in the business segment, so we'll see how that goes. That's it for news, at least for now, for the overall market. Futures are green as of right now. And then when it comes to Tesla, we're seeing some new developments coming in from different countries. So the Nordic Tesla's investors are pushing the Texas-based automaker to sign a collective agreement with the Swedish unions. We'll see if that ends up being the case. We're still seeing this news coming out, and many of the protests are still continuing. We'll see if Tesla does something. They really should do something as soon as possible, in my opinion, because this is not good for their business. Now, there's also some news that the recall, or if the quote unquote recall, because this technically wasn't a true recall, as Tesla fixed the issues with the autopilot, at least that's what I saw in reports. But many people are saying that, even this little software update they're doing may not fix all the problems for the over 2 million US cars. So we'll see if this is true or not. But from what I'm seeing, most of the issues should be basically alleviated with the update. But we'll see if there's anything else that happens. We'll be looking for some updates from the NHTSA. So far, Tesla's looking like it's in the clear, but we'll just wait and see. This article is saying that they may not be. So just to be safe, we'll have to just double check this. And I'll be very patient and watching for any more headlines in case something else comes up. But now let's talk about the charts. What's going on with Tesla? Well, we have a bullish wedge that's developing right now on Tesla. It's going to likely attempt to push higher, in my opinion. Make sure you guys watch that 255 resistance. If it breaks that 257 to 257.5 is next. Then we have 260 above that. Now, it is possible for Tesla to attempt to push higher. I do believe Tesla does have some juice left and may attempt to do so, but just be a little careful because as time goes on, we might see Tesla slow down alongside the market, either at the end of the day today, if not by tomorrow. And I think that we got to be a little bit careful as we can see this yellow trend line being retested. So I wouldn't be surprised if Tesla pushes up first, but as time goes on, it kind of slows down, at least with the overall market. And I think that this could even continue for the week because we have Christmas coming up, and generally before the long holidays we get some profit taking towards the end of the week. On SPY, what do I see happening? Well, in my video from yesterday, I was talking about a breakout from this flag. That's what happened so far. But then the question is, how will SPY continue? So if we're bullish on the markets, you want to see SPY break 474. If that happens, I could turn bullish. If we establish a lower high, I will turn bearish, and I anticipate this to fail. So SPY is trying to break out right now. We're approaching 471. We could peak near 472 or so, maybe a little bit lower. But I think that ultimately, even though we may push up, we're going to ultimately fail and see SPY continue to downtrend, make our way back down to 467, either by the end of the day today, if not by tomorrow. Maybe not today, but later on during the week. So I wouldn't be surprised if we push a little bit. We try to hold up temporarily. Then we eventually see some sellers step in. That's what I anticipate. And I think the market's going to try to peak at a lower high. I will turn bullish if SPY breaks 474, but I think that's very unlikely. And I favor this thing establishing a lower high, then eventually slowing down at the end of the day today, if not by tomorrow. Same thing on the QQQ. QQQ is once again attempting to push up higher. I wouldn't be surprised if this thing tries to retest this yellow trend line right up here. And we see this thing just start to cool off in a very healthy fashion towards the end of the week. I think that the QQQ might try to push back up to 406 or so, but the resistance is very tight up here, and that ultimately the QQQ is going to come down to 402 or below that later on during the week, if not by tomorrow. So look for a little pop, some consolidation, then a drop back down. That's what I'm anticipating for the end of the day, if not by tomorrow. And I think that a pop and drop is very probable for the QQQ. For Nvidia, I am seeing the same thing essentially. I think that Nvidia may attempt to push higher. I was talking about this push up yesterday. We're actually very close to my target. I was talking about a retest of like 495 or so. We don't have to get all the way up there. It doesn't have to be perfect. Could get very close to that target, if anything. Nvidia may push a little bit higher, but I think the move will fail. Nvidia is going to eventually cool back down. I think it has an imbalance to fill in the 480s. So could Nvidia push up more? Yes. We could get very close to 495 to 500. It is possible we push to the high 400s very, very quickly. But the move will likely fail, in my opinion, towards the end of the day, if not by tomorrow. And I think we might be making our way back down to the 480s, back into our range. So make sure you watch this carefully. Pop and drop is very probable. I think Nvidia is going to be making its way back down to 485, if not 482, as time goes on. Doesn't have to be today, guys. It could take a few days as well. But I think a pop and drop is still probable. Same thing on Aapl. Aapl could kind of pop a little bit. We test our resistance at 197 to 196.5 and then start just to continue to downtrend. I think that ultimately it's going to make its way down to 195 or even below that. So I think that Aapl could pop and then drop, and I think 195 is coming or below that very, very soon. Apple's looking weaker, which could slow the market down, especially for the QQQ and the NASDAQ. So as a reminder, guys, make sure you watch your levels carefully. I think the market could push a little bit more, but we're eventually going to see some sideways price action, maybe some downside. And I think that it's best to be very patient amidst everything that's going on. All right, so that's what I have for this video. Thank you all so much for listening. I'll see you guys in the next one very soon, and peace out.